up, everybody, and welcome back to the What the Fun Show. Today we are reviewing Rings of Power, the season finale, episode 8, titled Alloyed. Yes, we have come to the final episode of the first season. We're really excited to dive deep into the episode. But first, let me introduce the panel. Of course, we have my co-hosts, Joe and Justin. Joe, how you doing today?
Good.
Justin, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I can't wait to talk about this final episode of the first season. Crossing my fingers.
I'm sure we'll get more seasons. But listeners, if you have not watched this episode just yet, we are going to be spoiling everything. So we'll hit you with a spoiler warning in a little bit. A little bit of housekeeping though. First, if you're listening to us on a podcatcher of choice, please decide and consider leaving us a review. We would really appreciate it. Spotify, you could leave a 5-star review on mobile only. We would really appreciate your Apple Podcasts review. So go ahead over to Apple Podcasts, hit the stars, let us know how we're doing in the comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. We're close. We're getting there. We do want our custom handle to our YouTube channel, so please help us out. Awesome of you to do so. And leave down in the comment section on this video what you thought of the finale of Rings of Power. We are in spooky season still, so a bunch of spooky content has been already released as well as coming out. And so, if you're hearing my voice right now, we should have a Halloween Ends review. Me and Justin will be on that podcast coming out this Friday. Joe, sorry, you're just not a horror film fan. We also have Hocus Pocus. We also have this new continuity review of the original Halloween and the Halloween 2018, as well as Halloween Kills. So go check out those. It's all in the podcasting feed or YouTube channel. Gentlemen, Alloyed, directed by Wayne Chiep. October 14th is when it released, and I'm stoked to talk about this episode. Justin, we'll go to your spoiler-free review of the episode first.
You know, for a finale, for an episode of the first season, they did a great job. For the last thing we're going to see for a while, to leave a good taste in our mouth, to show us what they're capable of, and really round out a few of the storylines, they did a phenomenal job doing so. You know, I've kind of been in a heyday of good shows lately. We've got Moon Knight that I loved this year, and that was also very well done. But Rings of Power ramps that up with visuals and sound and quality to something that I wasn't expecting. From a TV show, something that I just wanted to pick up and enjoy and know some of the lore. This has really blown my mind. I can't say it enough. This show has shown what what directors are capable of when given time and good storytelling and good writing and music and everything that goes along with it.
Of course, speaking of music, I've been listening to the Rings of Power Season 1 soundtrack. It's just phenomenal. Joe, spoiler-free review, patent pending, Episode 8, finale.
It's really good.
Joe really wants to get out of here. Okay. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode as well. I think it was a fantastic ending to the first season, and it really buttoned up some of the plot points that I really enjoyed throughout the season to set us up for season 2. So yeah, let's get into it. We're going to spoil this, so if you've not seen episode 8 of Rings of Power, the finale of season 1, please stop this podcast now. Consider this your official spoiler warning. Hey, you.
What's that?
What are you doing?
Who, me?
Do you want to be spoiled? No? Well then.
Stop it. Get some help.
So you don't feel like this guy. Instead, let it be a surprise.
Oh, I like surprises.
So go watch the thing before you move on in the podcast, okay?
Alrighty then.
That was your spoiler warning.
No, wait. That was your spoiler warning.
All right. Galadriel and an injured Albrand arrive in Aragorn? No, that's not Aragorn.
Inside of him? What? My favorite characters in this? No, that is Aragian.
Aragian? Joe, help us out,
I like
please.
it. No, I like this. Aragorn. So they get inside Aragorn. Then what happens?
Family
Let's
friendly
go with
Aragorn.
this.
Family friendly Aragorn.
Strider.
Okay,
Anyway, so they arrive in Eregion. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Halbrand gives. So they do end up healing Halbrand, and Halbrand kind of like sneaks around, finds Celebrimbor's, study, his workshop, and Halbrand is actually enamored by Celebrimbor. He says that he has heard of this great elven smith in stories that he's heard from, the Southlanders or other people. And so they start budding a relationship here. And Justin, how'd you like kind of the opening here and then the relationship started?
Halbrand here really showed that he was a fan. In many different things he said, it was like he was enamored by the fact that Celebrimbor.
They say Celebrimbor. I think it's Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor's workshop, pretty much, and praising him and making him feel, boosting his ego. And Celebrimbor is the kind of guy that will take that and run with it. So obviously he's going to accept Halbrand in. And kind of like, okay, this guy's kind of cool. And later on, we'll see even more of that move towards gaining his trust, pretty much. Which is really interesting. I liked it. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
It was good. I mean, I can't add to that. Halbrand gets there. We know he's a smith from when he's in Numenor. We know he likes smithing. Like, that's what he wanted to do. He just wanted to exist in Numenor as a smith. So it tracks, right? I mean, we know that he wants to be a smith. We know that he likes this. If he gets to work with one of the greatest smiths of all time, minus Celebrimbor's master, mentor, whatever you want to call him. Sorry, I've been watching House of the Dragon, so I have Maester in my head. But
wrong universe.
I know. So we know that he's going to be very excited and excitable here in the forge, and sure enough, he's in there and he loves it. He's loving everything about it. He likes meeting Celebrimbor. He likes being part of these forging of this new alloy, and he was instrumental in figuring out how to do it properly.
Yeah, what was interesting here is kind of set off a red flag for me as a viewer, and I don't know if you guys agree. He kind of was interested in the mithril and didn't really know a lot about it, but he wanted to witness what it was, and then immediately knew exactly how to forge it.
He knew of the art of stretching out.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I don't know if it's
metals with.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a
stuff.
red flag if you are. I mean, scientists, right? They when they do their experiments, they are going on a hunch, right? And they are trying to decide whether or not this one theory that works for one metal, this one, let's say just gold or something, will it work for mithril, right? And so that's what Halbrand is coming at, from. He's saying that I have experience with, forging with certain metals, with certain, sources. Maybe that will also work with mithril. So I don't have a red flag at all. With that per se, because he's just sort of spitballing with Celebrimbor, like how would one work with a certain metal. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, Celebrimbor also gives him an idea of what they've already tried or what they're planning on doing. Yeah. So Halbrand goes from his prior experience to sort of give this advice to what he would consider as an inspiration in his life.
Just a coincidence.
Yeah, maybe.
They definitely worked together.
Yes, they did. So yeah, that relationship is budding, but while this is all happening, and in fact it did start off with the show, the stranger, he's in the East, and he meets the mysterious trio, the three witches, the Coven, right? the Sanderson sisters.
Nope.
The
And
albino
they-
babes. Gotcha.
Yeah, they end up greeting him and kneeling down. I'm going to ignore that comment. And they call him Lord Sauron. And so we
Well,
get the
they say that they're here to worship or here to
serve.
serve
Yeah.
Lord Sauron, and they believe he is Lord Sauron.
Yeah. And so, wild. I
Right out the gate.
right off the gate, this was literally the first scene. And I don't know, like I was just, my mouth agaped. I was thrown aback because, like, you know, we've talked about here on this podcast, right? That like we believe that he's either Gandalf or Radagast, right? And just for them to
Gandalf.
To
I
kind
never
of-
said Radagast.
well, yeah, I'm Gandalf. Justin mentioned Radagast. Anyway, but
Possibility. Yes.
But to throw sort of that curveball right away, it was a very good juxtaposition of like your expectations, right? And
Mhm.
Joe, what did you think of this start?
As a viewer, we're gonna take away my Lord of the Rings lore knowledge. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a great twist to add because, yes, the whole time we're thinking, is he bad? Is he good? He's had all these instances where he means to help, but it comes off in a bad way. It ends up working out in the long run, but almost every single time there's some sort of like bad payoff where, yeah, he means to help, but he threw Nori back, or he broke the tree and almost killed her sister, or there's always seems to be some sort of repercussion for him using his powers. So I felt it was believable. Okay, maybe this is Sauron. Maybe he doesn't know good or evil. Maybe he gets to make a choice. And so I really liked that. I really enjoyed it.
Justin, the opening, the curveball. What do you got?
Yeah, so let's not pass over the fact that the coven almost tricked him into coming close, because one of them was literally playing the role of Nori, and got him to come moving closer and closer, and then the eyes changed and you realized, oh, it's the evil.
Yeah, awesome
coven.
special effects, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that he had this connection for Nori and he had this friendship, and that drew him into, oh, I miss her, whatever, I need to get back. And then you get this whole reveal of, we are all powerful here and we come to serve you, Lord Sauron. And that dropped weight on you as a viewer so quickly. Just those words, you're like, the expectation, it hits hard right there for sure.
Yeah.
Loved it. Great opening.
Exactly. I agree. So Nori and the Harfoots, they do end up, in this scene as well. They're kind of like seeing from afar what's going on, and they want to protect their friend. They understand that the stranger is somebody that they've grown to like, and they want to make sure that he is safe. So they're in the background as well. This whole time, right? Let me pause here. Actually, let's get the Numenor stuff out of the way because it's very small. So Elendil and Muriel, they arrive back to Numenor to find that King Palantir has died. Okay, so that's really the only kind of scenes that we have from this, is that one of the Elendil's daughter, I believe, was like drawing the father, and then he goes crazy, and shows her the Palantir, I believe.
Yeah, Grandpa is gone though, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's that was kind of a wild scene, Joe.
It was really cool. I think he thought it was Muriel. That was my take on it.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, he thinks it's his daughter, and he's trying to show her kind of where he messed up so that she may do the right thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's really all you get from the Numenorians. I know that like Elendil is like very, very still upset. We don't get any resolution of Isildur, so we don't know where he is. But obviously, we do know that he cuts off Sauron's fingers when he has the Ring of Power. So I mean, he's gonna come back. So we'll see him in season 2, more than likely.
That horse.
Yeah, and we'll see the horse probably. But yeah, that's essentially the story. If we missed anything, just leave it down in the comments, please. So let's get back to the stranger. So the stranger, he is taken by this mysterious trio, the Coven, the Sanderson sisters, we're calling them, and they
You.
Are you telling me there's stranger danger here?
yeah.
Okay.
So they are effectively teaching him. They say that the stranger has this sort of veil, like this sort of like curse or whatnot, for lack of a better term, that has been put over his mind, and now they are trying to release it to prove to himself, to make sure that he proves to himself that he is indeed Sauron. So Justin, go ahead.
Just the visuals here alone, the different things that they do with dust and smoke, and it really looks well done. Top of the line CG animation. It looks great. It almost seems like they're trying to convince him, and at times it does seem like he is convinced, or he is starting to make that journey down that path of believing it. And it's really interesting because you get those cuts of the Harfoots in the ghillie suits watching and seeing what's going on, and seeing their friend being
Suits.
taking care. Oh, well, I'm thinking ghillie, yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's accurate.
Kind of like see their friend being tricked in their mind, and honestly, that is kind of what's going on. Now, obviously, the Coven, or the Sanderson sisters, as Mike would call them, they are in belief that he is this person. So they're not trying to trick him. They're trying to unleash that power that they
Yeah.
believe he has, which he does have
But they're-
power. But
they're also, Joe, this was pretty interesting, so I'll throw it to you. But they're also trying to make sure that that power is revealed slowly, because they don't think he's at a moment right now where he can effectively tame his powers. And wield
Yeah,
them.
they're afraid he'll lose control, which we've kind of seen a few times, right? That's why the people around him keep ending up getting hurt, is he doesn't have control over these powers yet. He needs to figure out and relearn how to use them. I really enjoyed it. I loved their use of like elemental magic here, with the fire, with the wind, with the leaves, watching all that happen. I loved, well, we haven't gotten there yet. But I loved the turning point as well.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But yeah, this whole kind of walking him through, teaching him, showing him kind of their level of power. And let's be clear, these are wraiths. They may not be ring wraiths, but we got a clear image. It looks like the Witch King or the Witch Queen, if we want to say, but they're wraiths of a sort. Really cool, really awesome. Showing them that he has this power as well. I enjoyed it. Let's talk about the turn, though.
Yeah, I mean, of course, listeners, as you know, I'm kind of tiptoeing back and forth between the two stories. So let's revisit Galadriel, right? At this moment in time, Galadriel starts becoming suspicious of Halbrand. Halbrand's getting really close to Celebrimbor. He's
That
sort
happens
of
in Aragorn for listeners and
yeah,
viewers
yeah, in
alike.
Aragorn.
Yeah.
He ends up Halbrand, he ends up like spewing and like revealing his like true nature a little bit, as far as his knowledge. Like he's kind of in the weeds with this whole process, like how much he actually knows how to forge with elven technology, how much he knows about Celebrimbor, how much he also knows about the history of Celebrimbor, So Galadriel does become suspicious, and so she gets an elf who is probably like a librarian of some sorts. Who goes and sees if he could find a scroll of the Southlanders' lineage. And so, Justin, what did you think of like Galadriel's kind of getting suspicious here?
I thought it was great acting. And I know, I hope Joe thinks the same. I think that her suspicion and her drive to do so was bar none. You know, she was behind it 100%. When she believes something, she needs something, she's gonna go for it, and that's her character, and she plays it to a T. And this whole, I need to find a way to prove that he's not who he says he is, or we just don't know who he is. And she finds that route and she takes it, and I love that.
Joe?
I am super distracted, gentlemen. I apologize.
Kind of looks like it.
Your faces are frozen on the video, but the audio is still going, so I'm just gonna go with it. So she asks about his history, right? His lineage, his past, to figure out, okay, well, is this guy who he claims to be? And then we get the fun history part where he's like, well, you know, I only said that, like, I've had this sigil. I didn't really claim to be this. You just kind of said it, and I went along with it. And you understand that he's a bit of a sneaky snake. The behind the scenes, like the first reveal when Celebrimbor says that quote, and I can't remember. That's what I was trying to look for. But the quote about oh shoot, like what was good, and like that clued her off. She's like, where did you hear that? And then from then on, like the ruse was up. Like she needed to know more about who this guy was, where he came from, and it was fun, right? It was like a little bit of spy movie, or like,
yeah, you know, because at this point, you know, again, Albrand is kind of in the weeds of it. He's there. He's getting on Celebrimbor's good side, and so like Galadriel's kind of suspicious of not only Albrand but also Celebrimbor too. Like she's just suspicious of everything. And like you said, Joe, very well acted, very well written as far as this like cat and mouse game. Like when is she going to pick up the pieces of this story, Joe? Or sorry, Justin, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he came from the raft. We saw that.
Yeah,
earlier in the show. Yeah.
Okay, so back, listeners, please follow me back to the stranger. Okay, so the stranger, he is sort of like kind of coming to his own. This veil is sort of peeling back its layers, and he is showing power and more power and more power. And so he kind of gets a little bit out of control. The coven, the wraiths, as Joe said, you know, they stop him, they put him to sleep, and then they hide him. And then we don't really know that they hide him because they're actually tying him up as a prop, you know, because I believe at this point they know that the Harfoots are there.
yes.
So Justin, they're tying up the stranger.
Supposedly, yes. They're tying up someone that looks like the stranger. We know they have powers of Professor McGonagall, so they can do what they'd like to do. Different universe, but that's transfiguration.
Yeah, we get it.
Well, viewers might not. So they're obviously shown tying up this stranger-esque person, and the Harfoots storm in and decide, I'm going to save him. I believe they like two of them go chase off one of the Harfoots, and then Nori is the one that comes up to the stranger himself and starts untying him, and then realizes this isn't the stranger. This is a trick. It's a trap. And
another universe colliding.
A lot of dangerous perils happen. Sadly, for myself, Sadok is killed in this process. He's the seer, the mystical one of the Harfoots.
Yep.
One of my favorite characters is gone.
He's like an astrologer.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones style, killing off my favorite characters. Yeah, but it's very cool to see this action from these three witches, from these ring wraiths or the coven. They use blades, they have a staff, and you actually see one of the Harfoots finds the stranger in some bushes, like it's like hidden in the bushes. He was wearing his own ghillie suit, And he wakes up and
He was just
decides,
wearing his
I need
robes that he's been wearing the whole time.
he needs to protect the Harfoots. He realizes this is not a time to go down the dark path or
Not
the
my
dark side.
time.
Yeah. So he ends up fighting and grabbing the staff, or he gets the staff that the Coven was using.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is awesome, right?
Yeah. So
this is one of the coolest animations in the entire episode, I think.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit because I do want to talk about one thing. This fight reminded me of the Fellowship of the Ring fight between Saruman and Gandalf, and how they're fighting in this sort of like, they're using their staff, they're using whatever, and they're he's holding Gandalf off and throwing him back and forth and stuff like that. But this was so much better. It was so cool. I love the elements surrounding it. I love the leaves like flying back and forth. I love the power in which you see these witches, just throwing away around the stranger like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
I think this was much better. I was worried where you were going with that when you first started. I'm like, because
No, it just reminded me of it because like you have like Gandalf like on a string, like being thrown like a rag doll in that. But this one far trumps it. Obviously, obviously the practical effects of the Fellowship of the Ring is awesome too. But the power and the weight in which this was filmed and shot, like second to none. It was the best scene in the whole movie, in my opinion. Or the whole show.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this battle. I really enjoyed this fight scene. I think it was done super well. I think that they incorporated practical effects and obviously a lot of CG here, but tossing him around, I mean, obviously that's all wire work. So they did a wonderful job with that. I think that by incorporating, the mystical into it, the power, they did a really good job at kind of previewing what we can like come to expect as we continue watching. Because when they're teaching him, he doesn't have much, and we haven't seen much power from him up until this point. At least not delivered all at once. He did the thing with the healing. He did the bit with the fireflies, and then he did the growing the orchard.
Ground pound.
He did, so he does the ground pound. But he did the orchard where we can see like obviously he's very powerful. We see that one little flower grow, and then overnight we've got, oh my god, the whole thing's just abundant with life. So we know that he is capable, but we haven't seen any like really raw power moments up until this point. And yeah, at this point we're given that, okay, like we've given you a little bit of preview. Here you go. This is what sort of power he can come like up with. This is what he has to offer. This is what he can deliver on.
Yeah.
And they delivered, right? I mean,
yeah. So let's get into it. Nori comes up to him, and we'll get to the scene that you're talking about now, Justin. Nori comes up to him, and she somehow got the staff of the sort of main sister, the main witch, and she brings the staff over to the stranger. And Nori throughout this point has actually snuck away and has talked to the stranger, and like has convinced with her innocent heart, innocent mind, has convinced this stranger that he is not bad, that he is actually good. All the while the stranger's like, Nori, get out of here. But regardless, the stranger sees the Harfoots in danger. Everything's on fire. Everything's set ablaze. And then Justin, he gets the staff.
Yeah, I want Joe to actually go through the staff thing, because he mentioned the ring wraiths earlier, and this is where we get that view.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So Joe, take over here.
Okay, all right.
So Joe, talk about the staff stuff. When he gets the staff.
There's a stick. It's like a long, it's like a pole, and he holds onto it.
Yeah.
And it happened to be dark in color, but maybe it was just the scene that was. No, I'm just kidding. So Nori grabs this witch's staff, and while we know you don't need a staff to use magic, right? That's been proven by all of them so far. There is something
Funnels
about
it.
there's something about exactly channeling your power through an object, right? And this is one of those objects, apparently. Again, this is Harry Potter stuff coming out, but like a magical object obviously is going to increase and channel your power in a way that just amplifies it. So he gets the staff, and as soon as he gets it, it's like a change has come. Like demeanor
Just able to
changes.
control it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, his demeanor changes. He feels like sure of himself. We see in his character that like all of a sudden he's comfortable. Like he kind of just fills that role of, oh, I get it now. I'm a wizard. Wizards have staffs. I can use this staff and I can make stuff happen.
I'm a wizard, Nori.
Yes. Thank you. I really wanted to say it. So yeah, we get the magic. We get to see his power for the first time unleashed on these three witches, and obviously he's pissed because they're trying to hurt his friends, the people who found him, who helped him, who healed him, who have nurtured him, and who have taught him, who have been there for him from the moment he hit the ground. Yeah, so he hit the ground, not running. But from the moment like he came to Middle Earth, these beings, the Harfoots, have been caring for him, looking out for him, and nurturing him back to where he's at currently. And as soon as he saw them in danger, unlimited power that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, pretty close to it. But yeah, it seems like he's able to control it. He seems like he's able to wield it, and he destroys these witches. Just absolutely destroys them.
We get a you
Also
shall
in the
not
process-
pass moment.
Also in the process, destroys the staff as well. The staff is gone too. But yeah, Justin, you talked about the CG of like just the wraiths changing from human to ghost to dead.
The amount of like cinematography that comes into that shot of just seeing the animation happening and the shot of him with the booming voice of controlling this spell, whatever he's using, Adava Cadaver. He is destroying these three wraiths, and you get that like ghostly presence that is eerily reminiscent to Fellowship of the Ring wraiths, the ring wraiths. And God, it looks so good nowadays.
It was so
like
good.
what they can do, this whole scene just like blew your mind in visual effects. It was so good. It's so
100%.
good, amazing, and yeah.
100%.
Go see it. If you haven't seen it, please do not.
I mean, they
stray.
shouldn't be listening at this point, but yeah.
My favorite moment was when he made the fire disappear.
That was
Out
so
of this
cool.
whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my favorite, because one, fire like just looks really cool on camera. Two, in 4K it looks amazing. And then as it dies down, all the embers on the ground and floating, like unbelievable job. And then you get this whole like, all right, again, I said, you shall not pass moment, and just boom, blasts the skin off of them and reveals them for what they are, and then they dissolve essentially. They get forced into the light or out of the darkness. How does that
They're
work?
dead. They're dead. Justin.
and
I don't think
forever,
they're dead.
like we've said before, magic has a cost, and the staff seems to be that cost for this whatever he used spell wise.
At this universe?
No, it's every universe with magic.
I mean, so far it has a cost. Nori, the branch, the fireflies.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
I guess.
Yeah. The ground pound, the Hulk smash hurt his arm.
Yeah. Anyway, so they end up watching the sunrise. It's already morning, and the stranger and Nori
And that's the most romance you get in this whole entire episode, right there.
That's not romance.
Yeah.
looking at the sun. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, watching the sunrise.
Anyway, they end up going back with the stranger. So their fight is over. or
This-
just beginning.
Yeah, this is where
We'll see.
Sadek passes as well, because
Yeah,
he
Sadok
wants
does
to sit there
pass,
and
yeah.
rest a little while. If I could just sit here and rest a little while, I'd like to see the sun come up one more time, and then he takes a
Yeah.
nap.
The long sleep.
Okay. So what has happened though in the midst of this is that they realize the three witches did realize that this is not Sauron, but it is somebody called Ishtari. And we'll get to that in a little bit. We're not done yet. So
Not
let's
called
go. Let's
Astari.
jump. Huh?
It's not his name.
Well,
No,
then,
that just means other.
It's a title they give him. but
one of
yeah.
the Ishtari. Sure. Okay, fine. Whatever.
Yep.
Anyway, we're moving back to Galadriel. Now, Galadriel, she's gotten her answers. She has gotten the scroll, and there's absolutely nobody named Halbrand in the Southlanders royalty line. So she confronts.
Everyone
confronts
died off.
Halbrand.
The bloodline is basically cut off. There's no kin.
No,
So, yeah.
no kin, exactly. So she confronts. She does confront Halbrand, and boy, first of all, I just want to say that the reveal here is awesome. I think that the character acting is absolutely phenomenal. The switch that Halbrand has, the actor is just brilliant. He has this switch from "I am the Southlander King" to Joe. Who is he?
A turd. Nah. So this isn't the first switch that we've seen though, right? Can just if we go back to
Briefly.
or just if we go back to like episode 3 or 4, his switch to accepting his birthright and who he is, where he is super duper resistant to it, and then he's like, the very next scene, okay, yeah, I am the king of the South. Like, so we get another one of those moments, and before it didn't make sense. Like before I was thrown by it, I was like, well, he accepted that really quick. And I think in the episode that we recorded, I was like, he accepted that like really quick. He changed his mind super fast. And in this scene, we have the same thing. He goes, okay, you got me. and then he's like, yeah, I've been around for a while.
Voldemort.
I kind of
Voldemort.
know exactly who you are, and you found me for a reason, and I'm a bad guy.
Yeah. So since Joe's not going to say it, Justin, who is he?
I said it already. Voldemort.
That's right.
Guys, I'm trying to
With
run a
the nose.
podcast here.
He is the big baddie of the show so far. The one that we haven't seen much of, but secretly we're seeing much of. So all of you haters, he was there all along. He is Sauron. He is the big baddie. He is the one who wears the one ring and forges it.
Maybe they didn't give us a cool little graphic on screen telling us exactly who he was.
Yeah. Sure. That's true. So yes, this is Sauron. He does reveal himself. It is. Shut
But
up.
Galadriel did get this like lightning bolt scar from finding out.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, Justin, kind of take us into this because
Oh yeah, sure.
He just freaks Galadriel out a little bit here.
Yeah, so he gets in her mind. Okay, this was if you like the animation and the CG stuff from before, let's take this into the mind of Galadriel. And not only that, from the first episode, from the opening of the show, we got to see the kids frolicking in the Elflands. And it takes you right back to that where she's with her brother. And she
100%.
knows that her brother is dead. And he takes on that role of her brother, which is just like, why would you do such a terrible thing? It is to convince her that she needs to be at his side and rule the world with him. And that is something that it could have gone either way. You know, obviously Galadriel is a good character, and we know her to be a good character for a good while until, you know, the witch stuff later on. But she's playing that middle road, and this is probably the turning point of her realizing I could possibly be this, and it would work out. This is the reason I found out about Sauron. This is the reason I found out he was Sauron all along, because I am worthy of being at his side and ruling the world with him. The light and the dark form one.
Yeah,
and
it was
it's very good.
It was so great. I loved this scene just in its entirety. Just Sauron trying to convince Galadriel that, you know, they were meant to be king and queen of Middle Earth. They were meant to rule this earth together. And you know, you even see the picture in the reflection in the ocean as they're on where they first met, right? The raft. And you see this imagery of King Sauron and Queen Galadriel, and man, it was just awesome. And I think that, you know, Joe, something that you have sort of griped about with Galadriel's character throughout this whole season is that, you know, they haven't really shown like her power, like her purpose for being the main standout character. And I really think that this scene proved it, because we do see Galadriel not necessarily powering over Sauron, but powering over her own probably potential, or even her thinking to still have the willpower to fight against him. And that's what I really thought was my proudest moment for Galadriel in this scene. Joe, you could comment, you could say, you know, Galadriel sucks, boo-hoo, yada yada.
This is literally the last no, definitely not that. This is literally the last part of Galadriel's story in season 1, so this is going to be up to Joe to describe if he accepts her as a good character or not. Right here, heard it first. Joe, what do you got to say?
I'm gonna bang my head against this mic.
She's fine, right? Like, I do not love Galadriel's story so far. I don't think that it's the best story here. I know we all want it to be. I know that you guys like her character a whole bunch.
I would disagray with that. I don't think it is necessarily the best story. I think
well, if she's the showrunner, then why not make the show about them?
I mean, the Rings of Power are the showrunners. We'll get to those in a little bit.
Okay, so this is fine. I really liked this scene. I liked that it was a mind battle. They had like a little Inception battle going on. We get to see some of the power of Sauron. Obviously, he puts her into a prisoner of her own mind, traps her there, and I'm going to jump into a little bit of lore here. Sauron is not Morgoth. Morgoth was all about destroying everything because he couldn't have it and he couldn't make it, and he was just mad that he was not the god of this place. Sauron wanted to unite everyone just under him, but he wanted he wanted the good of all people underneath him. So when he's telling her about what he could do and they could do together, he's not lying. Like, he wants this. He wants them to be a united people. He wants them to all succeed. He wants everyone to have everything that he/they give them. The problem is that he wants to be the one who sits on the throne and not have any free peoples. And thankfully, she is strong enough of character and mind that she's able to get herself out of this little mind prison before she drowns in the stream. So that's important. So she's able to escape the little mind prison that he puts her in after going through all sorts of levels of like trying to convince her, hey, I am not the bad guy here. They do a really good job. Like, he is not the bad guy in the sense of he is not evil and he is not killing all these people. He's helping and smithing and suffering alongside them. And it makes it difficult. Like, that is actually a hard decision to make because he's not shown any bad behavior.
Yeah, and he even tells Galadriel, like, hey, we've rode aside each other, you know, into battle. Like, we've done these things together. You have seen my character. It's just she knows his history and she can see through his motives, I think.
Maybe. Or maybe she just has a revenge story and she's mad that her brother died and she's a salty little salty. Like,
I don't know. I think that the character developed enough where it's not just a revenge story. Justin?
Maybe.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, cool.
I
Moving on.
I disagree with Joe's whiny saltiness. Uh, I think that the emotion was shown, especially when she played the role of her brother, her dead brother, or late brother. Uh, like when Sauron took on that mantle and played that part, that was just wrong on many levels. And for her, she didn't
Wrong but effective.
wrong but effective, but at the same time, her power level is over 9,000 is so strong that she is able to look past that and fight for the same cause that she's been fighting for the whole show.
Vengeance.
That's huge. It's not vengeance. It's obviously she wants to take out the big
I
bad.
think it started off as vengeance. I think it really
but now
did,
it is.
but I think it's
now
more
it is
now.
more for the greater good.
If it
It's
was
definitely
for the greater
expanded
good, wouldn't
past
she
that
have been honest
to
to everyone inside Aragorn about who she had just encountered?
So
She comes back in and goes,
yes and no.
I don't know who
Yes,
it was. I
No,
don't
but-
know.
No, see, I don't think she's like that. I think that she had this sort of moment with Elrond, and Elrond kind of knows.
yeah.
I think
definitely.
Elrond knows, but
The way
I
he
think
looked
that
at the water, the way that he sensed it, for sure.
I think that her stance is to not let all of the Elven kingdom know.
Mhm.
I really, but I think that she's confident in Elrond, and then let's just get into it. So, Sauron does overpower Galadriel. She is almost drowned. Elrond saves her. Elrond, Galadriel, and Celebrimbor, they end up forging the 3 rings of power for the elves. And
Gripe number 1.
okay, just wait. They have finally figured out that they need a material to meld it with from the highest purity. So Galadriel does sacrifice her knife, her dagger that her brother gave her,
Finrod's dagger.
because it has the most pure sort of source, pure material for forging the rings. So Justin, you had a gripe. Make it quick because we are running out of time.
The elven rings were the last of the rings to be forged outside of the One Ring. So the timeline is kind of skewed here. Joe?
Yeah.
No gripes. There were supposed to be 3. Sauron thought there was only 2. He shouldn't have been part of it at all, technically. He shouldn't have been there at all when they were forged. Just
So
saying.
I do know that the
Celebrimbor.
timeline is screwed up here, but I also think that the creative liberty that they've taken is not necessarily wrong and like
I'm okay with it.
overly
I'm just saying.
lore breaking,
This
Yeah,
isn't the
source
first
material
timeline thing
wise.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's another thing coming up.
So yeah, they have the 3 rings. All right, and then the episode ends with the stranger and Nori. Nori actually decides to go on an unexpected journey.
Expected at this point.
Well, a little bit expected.
We're going on an adventure.
Yeah, so Nori, the stranger says that he needs to leave. Nori's about to leave with her, her family and her group there, and her dad and her mom and her little sibling were like, "No, we packed you a backpack. Your purpose is with the stranger." So yeah, just I mean, very fitting for what we know of the Lord of the Rings, right? It is a hobbit's journey. It is with a wizard. It is, something where this is a fitting end to sort of get us into season 2. Now, Justin, I know you're chomping at the bit. Let's talk about the stranger. Who is the stranger? What is the stranger?
Now,
Yeah.
I know we've said it here a lot, and you can either side with us or not, but this is kind of irrefutable proof, in my opinion. The final thing he says, because Nori is unsure which way to go, and he says, "Always follow your nose," which is something that he said back. Technically forward in the Fellowship
forward.
of the in the Fellowship of the Ring to
Mary.
Pip, I think Mary.
Yeah, he says it to Mary, I believe.
When they're in the mines, the mines. He didn't know which way to go, and he said the air doesn't smell quite as foul down this way. Something
Always
that
follow your nose.
Gandalf said So what I'm hinting at is here, that is kind of proof that this is Gandalf. Now, my gripe with this whole concept of wizards is they didn't come until further in the timeline. They weren't supposed to be here at this time.
They come in the third age, and this is the
definitely
second
didn't
age.
rain from heaven. So that's another thing that plays a role. But as for goes from the storytelling perspective, this is Gandalf. In my mind, 100%, Radagast is out of the picture at this point. With that line alone, that was the hint they were looking for, and that's the hint they gave us. Everyone knows that now. If you're a good Lord
This
of
is
the Rings.
100% Gandalf. Joe, is this lore breaking a deal breaker for you, or?
No. I can enjoy the story and separate it from the lore. Does it follow the lore? No, there have been a lot of things that don't do that in this series. Timelines have not worked out at all from the beginning. So that's not a huge issue. I just accept that this is going to follow a different timeline than what we know from Tolkien's writings and stuff like that. I'm okay with it. I can separate the two, and I can be happy that we're getting some original content about the Lord of the Rings, and it doesn't have to follow Tolkien's lore on it. It can be inspired by it and not be it. So if we just accept
100%.
that this is inspired by Tolkien's writings and the characters, and we don't say this is Tolkien's writings and his story, I think we're fine. And that's what I'm going to do with it. And so far, by doing that, I have been able to enjoy this show.
This show's phenomenal. I'm glad that Gandalf's here. It just sort of brings a familiar couple, even another familiar character, and also just brings in the things that we've grown to love about the Lord of the Rings, specifically the media side. This is a Hobbit's journey, right? And the Harfoots are, predecessors to the Hobbits, and this is just going to be a really, really fun ride going into the second season. So let us know what you thought of the finale of Rings of Power. I'm so excited for the seasons to come. Go ahead and comment down below on the YouTube channel. Leave us a review on any podcatcher of choice. Justin, we're not going to do our ratings, actually, because announced right here, we have a special episode coming next week with friend of the show, SHAREEF Jackson, to recap all of season 1, and then we'll give you our official ratings out of 5 next week. So, Justin, are you all in for season 2, optimistic, or are you just done watching the show forever and ever?
This is definitely not, I'm going to say it again, the Halo show. This is an all-in situation. I can't wait for more. I'm reading here they are committed to do 5 seasons with the Tolkien estate. So it's going. Can't wait. Next year, or I wish they would do back-to-back, but I don't think that's going to happen. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Who knows?
So we're going to have to wait a little while, but I can't wait, and I can't wait any faster. Waiting faster.
Has the finale... The biggest mystery here
Did
was
it bring me on board?
never like
Am
who
I all in
Sauron
yet?
was. It was who the stranger was. The biggest mystery was is this finale going to bring Joe to the all-in status?
I'm super optimistic for season 2.
Dang it.
I thought
Close,
it was a
close.
really good season. I thought they did well. Obviously, I have some gripes with it, but I have really enjoyed this show. Out of all of the content that I've been like consuming this year, especially like series wise, this is one of the top ones. And I've been watching House of the Dragon. This one beats that. Like,
I've heard that a
I
lot,
don't care if you're
actually.
offended. House of the Dragon is not as good as Rings of Power. It just isn't. I was hoping it was because I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, but I would watch Rings of Power again before I rewatch House of the Dragon. So I am very optimistic. I'm excited for season 2. I'm excited to see where that story takes us, what kind of journey we're going to go on, and what that adventure looks like.
Yes, and I am still optimistically all in. I'm all in, guys. I mean, I can't wait for season 2, just like Justin. I'm sure Joe can't wait. He's just being Joe. So
I can wait.
anyway,
That's fine. I'm not in a hurry. I don't need season 2 to come out.
All right,
this
we're
year.
moving on. We're moving on. Anyway, this has been our review of the season finale of Rings of Power. Stay tuned next week for a full recap of season 1 with friend of the show, SHAREEF Jackson. And this is the What the Fun Network. Please follow us on social media at What the Fun Pod on Twitter and Facebook. You could also email us at whatthefunpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you want to know. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. For Joe, for Justin, my name is Mike, and we will see you guys next week. Bye now.
Bye.